Hello, Wasteland! Yes, welcome back, brothers! That's right, we're here to look at Gaslands UK's Car of the Month competition for June 2024! That's right, the 5th season of this fine competition, my brothers. As always, I am your host, James Hall of JH Miniatures, and this episode has been kindly sponsored and brought to us by Modelmatic UK, your one-stop shop for all of your favourite die-cast import branded cars and IPs. Oh yes! Before we get too far into this episode, as always, can we just take a moment to give a massive shout out thank you to the fine producers and directors and movie makers over at Modelmatic UK. Part of the bedrock, part of the core of this competition's sponsor history at this point, Modelmatic UK. You guys know who they are. We all know and love them. They have possibly the largest catalogue of import scale model cars and movie and TV show IPs at this side of the Milky Way, boys and girls. I mean, they've got everything from Knight Rider to Star Trek to Gone in 60 Seconds to The Italian Job and The Godfather and Fast and Furious and just everything. So, as always, thank you so much for continuing to sponsor this competition and providing prizes for not only first, not only second, but third place as well. That's right. And because of how special this month's theme has been, this is a Winner's Choice Award. Oh yes, that's right. If you are one of the lucky boys and girls that claims first place, second or third this month, then get in touch with John Irvine over at Modelmatic UK and you will have first dibs on a fine selection of cars and models. Our boys over at Modelmatic UK, they're opening up the Hollywood garage for the winners this month. It's first dibs, it's pink slips, it's winner takes all. And what was the theme? What was the silver screen theme from this month? Well, I can tell you now, boys and girls, Modelmatic UK, with their fine array of IPs and scale model cars, they wanted to see you take your favourite cars from movies and films and bring them to the Wasteland. That's right, a blank slate, a clear canvas for you to take anything from sci-fi horror films to road trip comedies to spy thrillers, you name it. We wanted to see your take on some of the most iconic cars from TV shows and films, whether it was the Ghostbusters hearse or whether it was the Jurassic Park Ford Explorers. We wanted to see your take on it, and what can I say, you guys have not disappointed. Yes, but let us start this month off strong, my friends, and let us just skip straight to the good stuff. That's right, let us have our meat before we eat our vegetables. That's right, I'm talking about the work of the one, the only, that alien blip on the radar that is Matt Whittam and his entry for this month. Oh yes, as always, showing us how it's done, boys and girls. Oh, what can I say? It is a wonderful, excavated, strange alien find in the Wasteland, isn't it? I love all the wonderful little details and all the things that help tie this into the Wasteland, because you know, I suppose this is the whole thing about a movie month for a competition, right? It's too easy to just take something like the Ghostbusters hearse or, you know, Batmobile and stick a bunch of guns and spikes to it and call it a day. It's a whole other board game to like go ahead and recreate something that is from a film using the materials, using the textures and the shipping containers and the rusty bits of corrugated metal that you'd have access to in the Wasteland. Everything from the wonderful details like that turret that you've built the track so it can actually rotate up and lock into position. Like, mate, wonderful movie references, wonderful accurate depiction, but with a fun Wasteland twist, like the Rutherford container being used as a base, like all the wonderful little sponsor panels and bits of car parts and things that are glued on there. I kind of feel like this would be a little bit better if maybe it wasn't so colourful. Like, I mean, the greens and the oranges work great together. The yellows, I love them. But then you've got the blues and the reds and the white and the just colour after colour after colour, and it becomes a bit too much. And things like that wonderful purple tinted front windscreen kind of gets lost, doesn't it? It kind of gets lost. It just looks like another armor panel. And it's not. And from the wonderful jewel work, the wonderful horizon reflection stuff you've done on there, we know that it's a glass see-through panel, but it gets lost in amongst everything else around it, and it does start to look like just another interesting armor panel on there, which is a bit of a shame. Wonderful scratch built editions, wonderful 3D printed parts, wonderful work as we've come to expect from you. Oh yes. As always, the gold standard in this competition, my brothers. The Hollywood gold star. What can I say? And it is a hard act to follow, but let us now have a look at the work of returning red carpet superstar Richard Fairbrass in his entry this month. Oh yes, who doesn't love a good Spaceballs reference? I know I do. Mate, what an absolute banger. The Space Winnebago. Oh, mate. Someone had to do it, didn't they? Someone had to make this thing. It had to become a reality. I love the fact that you even went to the length of making that separate car and then a little trailer hitch mechanism so it could actually tow it around. Like what a winning combination. Wonderful, wonderful work. I feel like some of the paint job in areas is a little thick and in other areas just perfect. Like the luggage, mwah, movie accurate, love it. But then some of the texture and lettering and writing, oh boy, we got to talk about this texture and lettering. These words and numbers, my friend. Oh my goodness. You could have achieved the same effect with just a print off. You know that, right? You don't have to. I know you love hand brush painting on everything, but you don't always have to, man. Sometimes you can just do it with the text and numbers. Because sometimes you got to make life easier for yourself, and the time spent trying to perfect that could have been spent on that wonderful work on the luggage, on that wonderful floral design. But honestly, mate, wonderful stuff. It really is out of this world, isn't it? Converting all the different little laser cannons and things on it. The air intakes on those jet engines. Bruh, we got to talk about those for a minute because they're not they're not the best, are they? I feel like you see how you're using the granny grating, like the cross stitch sheets for the sections next to it. That works great. If you could have found something like that, but thinner, almost like that mesh you put on the front windscreen of this thing as a gun shield, if you put that on the air intakes, that would probably have worked better, my friend. Amazing stuff, my friend. Another Hollywood classic. But if we are talking about silver screen classics, how can I not look at the work of that wonderful international man of mystery? That's right, Hardo Pius and his wonderful James Bond Aston Martin inspired build. Oh yes. Keep it simple and keep it mean, my friend. Now this is what I'm talking about. Because one of the nice things here is you've preserved a lot of the detail that comes on that stock vehicle, like the Aston Martin logos, like the rear license plate and DB5 iconography, whilst at the same time giving it all those wonderful, tasty Wasteland additions. As always, you know how I feel about just chucking armour plates and things on there without any rivets or welds or fixtures or anything to indicate how it's staying on there. But with a James Bond vehicle, you can kind of get away with it, can't you? Well, it's all hidden away in the body panels. We need to talk about the fact that this is a standard wheel gang build, which, as we know, is a crime punishable by flogging in the Wasteland. But at the same time, the dust effects are beautiful. The paint job is fantastic. The rust, I feel, is a bit monotone and looks a bit like samey all throughout, like it's just the same coloured rust on everything. Yay, you could get a bit of variety there. You know what I'm going to say, and it's about the body panels. Let's get one of those body panels mismatching, and then mwah, chef's kiss. GW skulls, they're a bit, I don't know. I've always maintained they're a bit out of scale, and it's how you make them work. And do they work here? Oh, But then you look at those headlights and you look at how you've painted them to look like those wonderful World War II shuttered visor, sort of blink lights, and it just works, doesn't it? It all just comes together and it's a solid build. It is a fantastic entry. It's just the little extra touches. Like this is the whole thing, Hardo. I was comparing your work throughout to David Goch, because David Goch decided to do basically the same thing. I think one of you started and the other one went, actually, I could do that, but better. And David hit on some of these same areas, but like he's got the different coloured body panels. He's got machine guns coming out through the front radiator, but then yours is the much cleaner, crisper, and more perfected build to David. And what can I say? If yours is the prototype, his is the finished model. But at the same time, I can't say enough. I think it's wonderful. Fantastic work as always, Hardo. I look forward to seeing what else you have in store for us this year. Oh yes. How can I not talk about an entry inspired by the titan of comedy that is Chevy Chase and National Lampoon's Vacation? That's right, we're talking about the People Mover. We're talking about that wonderful, wonderfully appalling sedan that he drags his family around in. Oh yes. Mate, what a combination. What a build. What a wonderful, wonderful sea of parts and details. And those beautiful hubcaps on those wheels, like, my goodness. You went above and beyond with some of the 3D print work this month, didn't you, my friend? But then it's all the little custom bits as well. I mean, I get the feeling that the armor panels might be a bit, design it in Blender and then print it off and see if it works, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Most of our sponsors, in fact, have some solid 3D printed bits. But there's something about just taking the raw material, isn't there, and bashing it into shape, especially when you're trying to create the metal paneled version of those iconic wood paneled sides. Honestly, it's a beautifully assembled and painted build, isn't it? I think this is the thing. The only letdown for me is just the fact that it's got like 8 headlights up front and then like nothing at the back. It's got like it's bog standard headlights and a bit of rope or something tied to the bumper. Like, mate, there's a little thing called balance, and you got to try and balance the front and back out. This would be very front heavy, and I'm sorry, but grandma on that couch on top there just ain't holding the back down. And to all you guys that do these wonderful, beautiful interiors, you gotta, when you're going through the painting process, you gotta photograph the interiors and the drivers and the passengers so we can admire them. All I can see is like a left arm. Like, come on. Come on, that's such a tease. I want to see more of what you've got in there. It looks like you've got like a crate of beer or something in the back. Let's see that. Let's see the details. But honestly, Jeff, wonderful, wonderful work this month. A worthy challenger to the Car of the Year title, if ever there was one. Oh, yes. But if we've got something that puts a smile on your face, then it's time to have something that puts the fear of the Lord in you, my friends. Oh, yes. Straight out of hell, like there's no fire that can stop him. That's right, I'm talking about the one, the only Mark Giacco this month, and his hell on 4 wheels. Or is it 6 wheels? Oh, yes. His Christine build. My goodness. And the Armageddon has never made a car look so good. Mwah! My friend, what a work of art this month. Oh, yes. I love all the little details this month. I love all those hand-painted skulls on the roof. I love that flamethrower and pipe combo. Although I think the blue and the pink are just too bright. You really want to darken those down, or even replace them, to be fair. Like, black cabling would have just worked a lot better. Like, this is what it's about. The engine glows like it's possessed by the fires of hell, doesn't it? That candy red paint job, my goodness. Even with the streaks of dirt and rust, that looks so good. That is a good red, my friend. I want to see more pictures of this. I want to see more. And one of the pictures you submitted is like the world's blurriest photo of the engine. Mark, you break Daddy's heart. Come on, retake that photo. I need to see that engine in more detail. I need to see the timing belt and all the wonderful little things that you built onto that. My goodness. Oh, Christine. Oh, you. Oh, oh Lord, have mercy. What a build for this month, Mark. What a fine build. Hell on four wheels, what can I say? Now this, boys and girls, this is what this competition's all about. This is what it's all about, my friends. Oh yes. Wonderful stuff, Mark. I tell you now, I'm recording this before knowing who the winners are myself. If this doesn't get something, I'll eat my own hat, god damn it, because it's such a good build. It is such a good build, Mark. My goodness. I'd go so far as to say easily, hands down, bar none, the best work you've done in this competition by far. Over all the years, this is it. This is the magnum opus for you, my friend. Even if you're not feeling it at the time, even if you're going, oh, well, I missed out the little detail, and I think that bit, it is a beauty, my friend, and you should feel proud of what you have done here. Oh, yes. And how can we not follow on the back of this? If we've got the fires of hell, how can we not have from the icy cold winds of the Japanese mountains? Or is it the Himalayas? I've not even seen this film. What's it called? What is this? It is a Japanese film from a manga adapted to movie called Lone Wolf and Cub, the so famous pram of the young Daigoro, and in particular in the last of the six movies, White Heaven in Hell. There's something so wonderfully real when you're trying to take something that already, by its very nature, looks very wasteland and apocalyptic and improvised and cobbled together out of whatever you have. Because the nice thing about these motorbike builds, because we don't get a lot of them, and I think it's a shame. We should have at least one bike of the month challenge, shouldn't we, my friends? Or like trike of the month, or quad bike of the month, something like that. I think would be really cool. Because you really get to push the scale on these builds. You really get to go the extra mile with what you can create, and this is some solid, absolutely rock solid work for realism, like from the scale of the machine gun and the samurai swords to the little baby in the cart. It really helps quite sell this as a build that has been adapted from one environment into the wasteland. Wonderful, wonderful work, Aurelian Wood. Honestly, as always, as I've come to expect from you, my friend. Fantastic stuff. And finally, my brothers, how? If we're talking about realistic builds, how can I not talk about the Days of Thunder build built by the one, the only Richard Hubbard for this month? Oh, yes, baby. What a fantastic Chevy. What a monster. You had fun with this, didn't you, Richard? You went all out on this build. You can see the love and the attention put into all the details, from the duct tape holding the bumpers together, to all those wonderful spikes and blades and guns, and that great that great circular saw at the back, which I want to say is from like an orc copter or something from 40k, but it just fits in beautifully into this. The Space Marine exhausts or stabilization jets being used on the back of this. Honestly, honestly, Richard, this is what it's all about. This is, oh, mate. I will say, I think the gun on top, the big quad-barreled thing, it kind of loses it for me. Like, I get that it's a 3D printed and maybe even a modified thing, but it just looks like a sort of greyish, silvery green mess. It doesn't really strike me as something fitting like for this. I almost feel like it would be better with like a rack of RPGs or a couple of heavy machine guns or something else. But at the same time, if that's the only thing I have issue with, is just the choice of firearm, mate, solid work. Wonderful, wonderful work on those improvised Bodicea spikes. I think the sort of punk rock spiked wheel arches are a fantastic touch. The exhaust paint job, like I get the kind of metal heat damage effect you're going for, and it is a real hard effect to pull off. You need more than just the three like silver, gold, pink, and black colors. You need to get some blues and reds and pinks in there. But honestly, wonderful work as always, Richard. I love seeing you coming back to this competition time and time again and smashing these builds out of the park. And as always, I cannot wait to see what else you have in store for us this year, my friend. Let's see the 12 of 12. You know you've got it in you, Richard. Oh, yes. Yes! But now it is time for everyone's favourite part of the Gaslands video. That's right, the spanner and spoon of praise and punishment. Oh, yes. But without any further ado, let us begin with the Chrome Spanner for this month, which is going to, of course, the one, the only, absolute blazing hellfire inferno that is the work of Mark Giacco this month. Oh, yes. Oh, Mark, oh, be still my beating heart. What can I say? I had to shine a light on this. Look how good this build is. Look how good it is, boys and girls. This is the kind of work that I aspire to at the end of the day. This is the kind of nitty-gritty nuts and bolts that I enjoy in my builds, Wastelanders. And there is so much on display here that is so good. It's honestly, Mark, it is next level stuff. It is next level work, my friend. And honestly, I cannot wait to see what else you have in store for us now that you're part of this fan community of ours. Because if this is just a taste, oh boy, take notes, boys and girls, because this is going to be a wild ride. Oh yes. No, honestly, mate, wonderful, wonderful work. Worthy of the highest accolade of being given the Chrome Spanner. Oh yes. But sadly, if we're talking about the Chrome Spanner, we must talk about the person we are beating down with the wooden spoon to cast a light into the gutter to look at this effort. Oh, Keith McAvoy, my friend, buddy, why do you hurt Daddy like this? Why do you wound me so? Keith, what am I even meant to be looking at here? So let's just say, for example, we don't actually know what month this is. What are we looking at? We're looking at a poop brown rusted car with a minigun attached to it, a ram, a spare wheel at the back with a sign that says "Nuke the Whales." Is this a Simpsons reference? Is this like
Nuke the whales? You don't really believe that, do you?
I don't know. Gotta nuke something.
Is it that one episode? Mate, what are you doing? I mean, there's a lot I can let slide, like the whole, standard wheel gang thing, but this concept is just all over the place in execution and theme, and I don't get it, and I don't. It looks like a piece of terrain. It looks like a really nice piece of rusted scenery that you put down on the track to represent a barrier or a hazard. It doesn't look like a contestant's car. There's no one in the seats. You've turned it into an open-top car and there's no one behind the driver's wheel. Keith, come on. Come on, buddy. Oh Lord. Oh, you break Daddy's heart. And this is the thing, it doesn't have to be, not every build needs to be the magnum opus, the greatest build that's ever been submitted by man to a competition. Like, it doesn't have to be that, but it at least has to be recognisable. This could be anything. This could be a pirate ship themed build for all I know. What is this meant to be? Is this JFK's car? Is it a reference to a film about JFK's assassination? I don't get it, Keith, because it's just a rusty shipwreck on wheels. Come on, buddy. You're better than this, Keith. You're better than this. Oh, God bless you, my friend. Yes, but finally, my brothers, finally it is time! Enough beating around the bush, because it is time to announce the winners from this month's fan competition. Oh, yes. So start the drum roll, roll out the red carpet, because the winner of Gaslands UK's Car of the Month competition for June 2024 is Jeff Burbage! Yes, congratulations, Jeff. Come on down. Let's see what wonderful Oscar-winning prizes you have won. Oh, yes. Oh, what can I say, my friend? Oh, it's an absolute banger, isn't it? It's an absolute treat. I think this was the thing with this month. It was always going to go one or two ways. It was always going to come down to theme and execution, or it was going to come down to technical ability. And you have found that wonderful razor-thin fine line between the two, where this is a beautifully modelled and painted build, while still instantly recognizable as that wonderful beat-up piece of crap family wagon by Ford from the 80s. It's wonderful. It's an absolute queen of the wasteland, and it just wonderfully captures that absolute lost it moment at the end of the film where it's just, this is no longer a vacation, this is a quest. It's a quest for fun, and we're going to have so much fun. You're going to have fun. We're all going to have so much fun. We'll need plastic surgery to remove our goddamn smiles. You'll be whistling zippity-doo-dah out of your ass in the wasteland. Oh yes. And this is the thing, boys and girls. A Car of the Month winning build doesn't have to be the biggest, gnarliest, overly complex beast of a machine. It can be something simple and finely detailed. It can have all the little telltale signs and nods and winks that tie it to its original property. It is worthy of that first place prize and first dibs on the vast stockpile of loot from Modelmatic UK. Oh yes. Congratulations, Jeff Burbage. Welcome to the Hall of Fame, my brother. And if Jeff is in first, then who, I hear you asking, is having second dibs? It should come as no shock or surprise. Of course, that pioneer of the apocalypse blazing a trail for this competition. That's right. In second place, we've got the one, the only Matt Whittam for this month. Oh yes. The longest running heavyweight champion in this competition's fine history, my friends. Is there no one that can stop this man as he storms towards Car of the Year for 2024? My goodness. It just goes on to show, honestly, my friends, we're going to have to hold you down. We're going to have to wrap you up in chains at some point, because we've got to stop you. We've got to find a way to stop you, boys and girls. At some point, Matt, you've got to line them all up. You've got to take, the last, 20 months worth of builds. Doesn't matter if they were first or second place winners or what, but just take all of your Car of the Month builds out and just put them on display for us, fella, because we got to see what this looks like. We've got to see what your warband looks like at this point, because individually it's jaw-dropping stuff. And this is, as always, worthy of that second place podium spot. Oh yes. And in third place, bringing up the rear, to think I wouldn't touch on this wonderful little bit of H.R. Geiger-inspired fury. That's right, I'm talking about the one, the only John Simpson Wedge and his Captain Nemo-inspired build from the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Oh yes. John, my friend. Yes, this is what I liked. Oh yes, what a solid build. As I say, it's got that sort of mechanical, organic sort of feel to it that was so quintessential with H.R. Geiger's work. There's a lot of similarities between this and Matt Whittam's, what can I say? But it is just beautiful, beautiful execution on that classic six-wheeler design, isn't it? What a solid build. Worthy of the bronze medal for this month, and third dibs on Modelmatic's treasure tomb. Oh yes. And that is everything for this month. Oh yes, boys and girls, we did it. We made it. We are halfway through the year. 6 episodes into Series 5 of this fine competition, my brothers. 5 years running. The underline it and put it in bold, the longest running Gaslands contest on the internet. Brought to you by the many, many fine folks that go into the working of these videos. So as always, if you fancy throwing your hat into the ring or taking your place amongst the red carpet stars, why not head on over to the Gaslands UK Facebook page and have a look. As always, a massive thank you to all the fine admin members that go into the making of these wonderful videos and keeping this competition afloat. Of course, I'm talking about Darren Phillips, David Bousset, Colin Harvard, and Matt Reeve. And on a personal note for myself, I've got something special planned for next month. So I want you guys to keep an eye out for when July's video launches.
This month's competition is sponsored by none other than Anvil Industries, whose lovely stuff you just saw a few moments ago. The Car of the Month competition is the world's longest running Gaslands build-off. You have a month to build a new vehicle, paint it up, and post photos to the group. This month's theme is Life of Crime.
But until then, my friends, enjoy the summer sun, and I will see you out there in the wasteland. Oh yes, goodbye.